equally important is that professional development side. How do we make you better technical professionals? How do we encourage you to be more giving than the next person? I mean, after all, we are the brightest people on the planet. Okay, if it wasn't created by God, it was created by an engineer. Okay, so we're thinking in terms of innovation and that basic definition of what innovation is. And it's thinking outside the box. It's doing things unusual. And one of my tasks this year on the IEEE board is I'm now chairing a committee on disruptive innovation. So if you're interested in being part of that committee, come and see me. But we're looking for things that are new and different, novel, creative, something outside that box. So while you're here over the next couple of days, what we'd like for you to do is look for new applications, things that you hadn't thought of. Look for some idea that started as a germ and maybe you can germinate. All you have to do is add a little water and fertilizer. And be creative. Think about things that are going to be applicable to you as you sit in the rooms. And again, it doesn't make any difference if it's a professional development or a technical topic. It's what could you use? And how could you make the most use out of it? Look for things that you can use to enhance your value, your product. You have a market. You have a responsibility to sell yourself. So think in terms of the sessions you're sitting in. What gems of ideas, what little things did the speaker talk about? What kind of conversations took place that you can use that'll increase your market value? By the way, your return on investment. And when I hire you, your product, and my responsibility, or your responsibility, is return that investment I made in you quickly. This is also an opportunity for you to network. Okay, now networking is all around you. It's not just some networking event, but it's every day. And how do you learn? How do you create that benefit? Okay. So we want you to think outside the box, think big, have ideas, do things that are different. Okay? IEEE is thought of as a whole bunch of different things. Okay, yes, we're innovators, we're research related, we're technical, we provide information, we've published more journals on the planet than anyone. By the way, you are part of the largest professional society on the planet. We have 440,000 members. If you don't think that's a great resource to have, I mean, imagine that you can talk to any one of them, ask them any question, and expect an answer. Okay? But stop and think about the power of the IEEE.org website. Our Saturday lineup, tomorrow we'll start breakfast in here at 7:30. The first session starts promptly at 9 o'clock. Now, tomorrow's session is a mix of both technical activities and professional development topics. You can see the companies that are relating to us here. These are all companies that are providing speakers for you, for my rising stars, for my spindle tops. Okay, so Tom mentioned it. I mean, the Vice President of Research for Dolby is here tomorrow to talk about the next generation of what can happen in video and audio systems. I was amazed at some of the things that he talked about when I had conversations with him on the phone and emails about some of the whys and whats and what's really next. The folks from NASA, Steve is going to excite you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. At noon, we have unbelievable speakers to talk about the career and the dynamics of this industry. Vice President and Director of Ford Safety Systems. It's going to talk about the virtual tools that they use to design safety systems in vehicles, and why they're used and how they're used, and so on. An unbelievable crowd, and I'm overlooking Kate because she's one of the speakers here. All right, and Mike is another one over here. Who are the other speakers? Anyone else here in the room? Kate on entrepreneurialism, and Mike is on, I'm going to say job search. I keep looking at Purple Squirrel, but that's not your presentation topic. That's a logo brand. And on the person I'm going to name last is someone who I've known for 46 or 47 years. Married her about not far from where the Treasure Island is, down a little bit further than that. About 45 and a half, no, that's where our honeymoon was. We were married in a church downtown because she's from here. And that's Carolyn, my wife. Am I missing other speakers? So that's what's happening tomorrow. Now, by the way, after the last session, and our last session closes sometime between 6:30 and 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, we will host, since we're not doing a career fair this year, when we were contacting companies, we didn't have a large enough number of registrations yet, so we couldn't really sell them on the idea of coming here. Although all of the speakers represent some great companies, you need to talk with them because they're all willing and able to listen and accept resumes. But on Saturday evening, there will be a group of us, either in this room or the next room, that will be more than happy to look at, critique, give you some suggestions on your resume if you brought them. Okay? On Sunday, again, we start in here at 7:30 with breakfast. At 9 o'clock, our topic is the next big thing. Okay, and we chose 3 areas of technology to deal with the next big thing. So we have the expert in technology, in entertainment technology. We have an expert in power and power technology, and we have an expert in the Internet of Things, all speaking during that 9 o'clock session. Okay? You're absolutely encouraged to make it for breakfast early and plant yourself. We're still missing, I think, when I was out at the desk, they said we have another 30 or so people coming tomorrow morning. So if you want a good seat, this is the spot. By the way, we have 2 sessions. We have sessions going on in this room. We also have a track, which I believe is just a couple of sessions tomorrow over in the South Ballroom. So before you leave the conference, I would like you to do one serious activity, and that is create a personal action plan. And by that, you need to write it down. Don't just sit here and say, well, I'm going to do this. Or I saw these 3 things, and that's what I'm going to do. Write it down. Without writing it down, it's never going to happen. So take a few minutes throughout the next couple of days, and any ideas you have that you want to put into action, write it down. And that's not anything that we can do for you. But some things that you need to think about as you're jotting down your ideas is think about the big picture. Okay? It's not just about you, but it's that bigger picture, because you play an important role in what happens to that picture. You become more than just the picture. Okay? Be willing to make nonlinear connections. And if you ever get a chance, I would look at an old book or an old PBS series called Connections. The author was James Burke. And it was interesting because he would go through a device and say, well, here's what the device looks like today, but how did it get there? And they were never straight lines. They didn't say, well, if I did this, it'll do this, and so on. So be willing to think non-linearly. Think long-term versus today. And you should, at the end of the day, on Sunday, as you walk away, you should be able to inspire somebody that you talk to about this conference. Inspire somebody based on what you picked up here and the knowledge that you walk away with, coupled with the knowledge you already had when you walked in. You need to be able to make those connections, so it's not just the people around you at your immediate table. It's the 152 people that are conference participants. It's also the 10 or 15 speakers. It's the other guests and organizers that help make this happen that you just need to network with, that you need to talk with, and make those connections. Share your results. Share what you learned, not just here, not with the 158, but with the 100, the 200, the 500 that you meet between now and February 1st. And then, as was said earlier by both Jim and Tom, continue your development. It's unbelievably important. Knowledge in our field is changing daily. And how many of you are planning to go to Storage Visions on Monday? A few of you? Oh. Okay, now, by the way, the reason that we did this conference this way, you got 1,000 people out here. The reason we did it this way is that this gives you an opportunity to get a real clear picture of what technology is doing, how to network, how to talk to people, how to position yourself. As an upcoming professional, Storage Visions gives you an opportunity to see technology in real life and meet real life decision makers from about 700 companies, as I recall. Yeah, it's just saying 700 companies too, all from different companies. It's Tom's conference, I'm just making it up for him. Okay, and then for those of you that stick around for an extra couple of days, you'll go to the Consumer Electronics Show, CES, and that's where you get to see the next dreams or the next products. So you've gotten a chance to learn how to talk with people and interact and understand technology here, to meet decision makers at Storage Visions, and then to see products and talk with people that are primarily sales folks, okay, technical professionals that are talking about tomorrow's products at CES. That's why we created Rising Stars for here. Other than it was just a phenomenally brilliant idea, Tom. Hey, we did this, we'll take credit for it. But what we like to do is give you this little exercise. Okay, so on Sunday, I'm going to ask the same question. Were you able to transform your image? If I ask you to stand up right now in front of some audience and say, it's your opportunity to pitch the brand, you're it. Okay, so you would have 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and half an hour to come up and talk about yourself, your attributes, and what you're really good at. Okay, so what things would you highlight? So, I mean, the exercise for this pitch the brand idea is if you were in front of an audience of 500 people, what would you have to say about yourself? The continuation piece of this is if you were going to write your own marquee, okay? If you're going to have this show marquee 20 by 30 feet, we're in Las Vegas, it's a small marquee, and a catalog description about what you're all about, what would you say? Now you're going to ask the same question on Sunday and see what changes. Like I said, this conference is all about you. Now back in 1901, after a couple of years of negotiating, there was this farmer who was just going broke. having a problem making ends meet. He was starting to sell off pieces of his property. He had a small farm down in Beaumont, Texas. It was about 200,000 acres. And he figured, well, money is tight, and I'm going to sell off a little bit at a time just to keep my family in bread and water. And a couple people knocked on his door and said, instead of you selling off your property piece by piece, would you mind if we did a little drilling here? Okay? So could we try drilling a well? We'll pay you for every barrel of oil we get from your property. Now, he had been having a problem making ends meet. He was dirt poor. He had a lot of property, but he just couldn't make ends meet. So he said, okay, pay me $1 a barrel. That was, a small amount for what these guys were offering, just $1 a barrel. Well, January 10th, 1901, Spindletop came through. Spindletop, in this first month, and this is Gulf Oil and Texaco, did the drilling. In the first month, they were pulling out over 100,000 barrels a week. He had been dirt poor until somebody tapped the resource. So you have an opportunity this weekend and off into the future to tap the resource. Think in terms of the speakers. Think in terms of IEEE.org. And thank you. Couple pieces of housekeeping. There's still some food left over there. Not much. The conference, Tom mentioned this is a hybrid conference, meaning that we are going to stream live tomorrow, and we will put out on Facebook or on our website the URL, because I could read this URL, but between now and tomorrow, I'm probably not going to finish it. Okay, so we'll have that on the IEEE Region 6, the Rising Stars Conference website. We'll also have it on our Facebook page. So you can actually contact friends who couldn't be here. They would be able to see the conference stream live. Second is that we are going to clean up the presentations between, and that's clean up the sound, clean up the video, and so on. And we'll put this conference on our Region 6 website probably the 1st of February, so that you'll be able to go to that site, the Rising Stars website, and watch any and all of the speaker presentations. Even if you had to miss one or two because of the multiple sessions, you'll be able to watch those. Let's see.